He's daddy in this one.
Did you just describe John Ambrose as daddy?
John Ambrose is kind of dad, isn't he? I think he's kind of dad a little bit.
This is so exciting. We are on the set of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, the sequel. You've joined the cast. How are you feeling, first of all?
I feel amazing. You actually hear Noah screaming.
I did hear Noah.
He's so loud.
Is that how he's like on set, by the way?
That's
just like
that's
running
how he's
around?
like just in life in general.
Yeah.
We've been friends for 8 years and have never worked together on anything. So this is our first time actually working together on something. And then Ross Butler and I did Teen Beach 2 for Disney like 5 or 6 years ago, and we haven't worked together since. So it's great. You know, it's a lot of really wonderful, obviously very talented people that love the story, and that's really where it begins, right? I love it and was so drawn to it initially because of its very pedestrian, very human-oriented conversational dialogue and real life stuff and challenges emotionally that people face and experience that kind of aren't really talked about. And this is a story that's like never really been talked about before in a way. And it's so diverse. And it's really a people's film.
So you watched the first one, obviously,
and
then you get cast in this one. Do you feel pressure because of how successful the first one was?
I think that I recognize how beloved it is.
Sure.
You know? It's very helpful, to talk to different people that are fans of it and have been fans of it for a while. It came out, August of last year?
Yeah.
Right? And the craze that took place since it came out, and the fans of the book before the film came out, and then the new fans of the book, and now the book series. After the film came out, there's this gaggle of people, this kind of, in my opinion, kind of very generationally defining era, where this film is concerned. And obviously huge for Netflix and great for the YA kind of genre, if you will. I think that where pressure is concerned, I think it's really just more along the lines of wanting to take care of the material and take care of the character, take care of the thing that was kind of an anomaly that people really love and are still loving and discovering. Because there's going to be a whole bunch of people that didn't watch the first one that watched the second one. That see the second one come out, they're like, oh, I need to see the first one and fall in love with it, and then immediately can see the second one.
How does John Ambrose come in and really affect the story? Like, where are we picking up in this sequel?
It happens pretty immediately after the first film.
Okay.
The book series is pretty, like, story by story, right? So that's no surprise. John Ambrose is, if you've read the books, you know that he's Laura Jean's first love. He was her first, oh my God, I've got these feelings, I don't know what to do with them. Let me write them out in a letter. That's how I can express how I feel. It's safe, it's wonderful. Obviously her intention wasn't for him to ever read it, but he does, and reads it late because of a forwarding address thing, because he moved away, obviously. That's very much a part of the story. He moves away and isn't in her life really anymore, even though it's like across town, when you're a kid, it's not like 30 minutes away when you're not driving is, you might as well be in a different state. Yeah. So he comes in very coincidentally, and also just after he gets this letter, writes her back and is like, hey, this is kind of insane. Like, I can't believe, why am I getting this letter now? Blah, blah, blah. Why are these feelings what they are? And we've never talked about them. And then kind of coincidentally comes into her life, and it throws her for a loop because she's obviously just begun this relationship with Peter, and then kind of poses the question, like, what would have happened if he would have gotten the letter earlier? Like,
so there's definitely a love triangle situation, is what you're telling me.
That is no surprise. Yeah, like it's exactly what it is. And that's kind of a great foundation for the synopsis of the film. It's like, what do you do? And Laura Jean's position as well, like specifically this guy, like, I haven't seen him forever. Oh my God, he's back in my life. He doesn't have a stutter anymore. Everybody's grown up a little bit. How do you explore that? And I think that one of the great reasons why we make art in general is to help people not feel alone in what they're going through in their life. Like, you listen to a song and it resonates in some way. You see a show in a theater, you go to a movie or watch a TV show and you can relate to a character like that. That kind of otherwise untangible thing can happen where good art is concerned, and that's we're telling this story. Maybe somebody else is struggling with their feelings in some way, and can relate.
And this
which
can
is
help
great.
them a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, let me ask you this. Peter Kavinsky, that character became such a teen dream with the first
Yeah,
one.
he
Is
sure
he as
did.
dreamy in this one?
Noah Centineo is just a walking anything beautiful in life that you love. I love him. He only gets taller and gets more ripped and more charming.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And that's Peter. That's that kind of goofy, sweet, charming guy that you see in the first film. Obviously there's things that happen in the second film and in the second book that pose the challenge to Lara Jean. And then, like I said, coincidentally, this guy, John Ambrose, like unbeknownst to him, who was friends with Peter back in the day and is friends with Lara Jean and all of like their mutuals, has no clue that they're dating and whatnot. He's just, Lara Jean's there again and they've got feelings. He's got feelings and she maybe has some too, and what could this be? And then Peter is Peter. I love the character.
I love your face every time that you bring up Noah/Peter.
He's just awesome. I just adore him. He's great. There's a real bromance. We love each other.
There's a bromance?
Oh God.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a long time and have been comfortable around each other for a long time, but like actually get to work together in something. It's just.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Who is the dreamier guy, though? I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
Oh!
Peter or John?
To Peter or John. I was actually just talking to Lana about this last night. She, if you get a chance to talk to her at all, she'll tell you that she's very frustrated and confused for Lara Jean.
Really?
There's all these things, there's all these variables, right, that you can't control. Peter, if there's a yin to a yang, like Peter is the yin to Lara Jean's yang, right? There's the cliche that opposites attract. There's also the same one in the same breath that likes attract.
Yeah.
Lara Jean and John Ambrose vibrate on that same frequency, and they can kind of finish each other's sentences and are on the same page. And John Ambrose has this way, this really old soul, and understands people a little bit more. He's just kind of been around, even though he's the same age as all of these other kids. He's been around, it seems, and knows how to navigate things, knows how to take what would be an uncomfortable or awkward situation and immediately make it dissolve into something really fun and beautiful or sweet or lighthearted. And I think that there's something really charming about that and very sweet about that, and maybe even kind of dreamy. Like John Ambrose is I just want to hug him. He's just like the best. He's the guy that you just want to have around. And Peter's the same way in the sense that he's the guy that you just want to live vicariously through. And then when you have him in your life, you feel like everything is just kind of more fun and more exciting.
So we think he's dreamier.
I think that maybe John Ambrose is dreamier.
I mean, you have to say John Ambrose, though, right?
Do I have to? Yeah, probably. John Ambrose is dreamier.
Yeah. Does it feel almost like a summer camp between you guys because you've known him for 8 years and you said Ross Butler, and then obviously we have Lana, who's
Lana's
such
amazing.
Yeah. Does it feel like that between you guys, and how are you bonding outside of set?
Oh, well, we're working a lot, so there's like when we're not
No
on
downtime?
set, like it's pretty much like, hey, like I'm going to bed. I'll see you tomorrow at work.
Got it.
Otherwise, though, I'm kind of a dad. Like I like to
Are
have
you?
I like to have everybody in my place. Like I like to cook. I like to like play board games and video games and like watch movies and Game of Thrones on Sunday nights, that kind of thing. So
You posted this Instagram in the hair and makeup trailer.
yes.
What is happening?
in that one specific post, it's actually it had been happening for probably 10 minutes before, and probably went on for like 10 minutes after that too.
Okay.
So Ross and Noah and I have all been friends for a while, right? And Lana was just kind of in for a treat, I think, like when they put us all together. Like the joy that Noah and I had. We were sitting in a restaurant together and both heard that Ross was joining the cast at the same time. We both were like, yeah!
Oh, you learned it together?
Yeah, we did. We
God.
found out at the same time. And I think it was the very first day that we all were working together on the film. Ross is kind of a walking boombox. Like he walks around with this massive speaker, takes it everywhere he goes, music playing like all the time. You kind of wouldn't expect it from him, but he's a massive music fan. And we have a tendency of turning the hair and makeup trailer into a nightclub.
Like you're dancing in there, singing.
It's an experience.
I want to be a part. I want to see that. I want to witness that in person.
Yeah, check out the film. It's funny. I posted it just randomly. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is really funny.
Is this an everyday occurrence?
Whenever we're all together, yeah, 100%.
Okay. Speaking of singing and dancing.
Yeah.
You are the master. You are a pro. Do we get to see John Ambrose singing and dancing?
Do a little singing and dancing?
Come on.
You know, it's funny. I feel like I do a lot of that in a lot of things that I work on. It's nice to work on a film where that's not happening at all. I'm a person.
Yeah.
Maybe he like plays an instrument for a second in this movie, but it's not.
What kind of instrument?
It's nothing.
A little piano? A little piano?
I don't know. Maybe it is a piano, and I'm actually playing it, which is really cool too. She goes down, and that's their goal. There is to try to figure out how to like find some closure and be good and like feel okay. She apologizes. He like is embarrassed that he couldn't really read things correctly. He thought he was flirting. He thought they were flirting. He was wrong. It's tough. It's a really tough scene.
How much more dramatic do you think this one is than the first one? Yeah.
I think significantly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think significantly because, you know, Lara Jean is actually really going through something very challenging and very difficult. Whereas the first one is like, oh, like crap, Katie sent my letters out to all these boys that I once had a crush on. Some of them are in relationships. One of them dated my older sister. One of them's gay. All of these things. And then there's the one guy that is far and away and kind of removed, and that guy happens to be the first letter that she wrote, and probably the most intense one too, because those feelings were so palpable for her. Him coming back into her life like really throws everything for a loop. It totally turns the world upside down. Yeah, it's beautiful and it's exciting, but also she's in a relationship and like trying to work things out and figure things out and going through some tough things with Peter, and like that, I think that it poses a lot of questions, and I think also presents a lot of challenges for her, especially in comparison to the first film.
Do you and Noah have a lot of scenes together, or no?
John Ambrose and Peter don't have a ton of stuff together because like a lot of John Ambrose's things happen at Bellevue. If you've read the books, like they happen with Lara Jean specifically. There's the infamous treehouse scene that's very awkward, where Peter and John and Trevor Ross's character and Jen and Chris and Lana for the first time, Lara Jean, are all coming together like they did when they were kids. They haven't done that in a long years, and everything's changed and everybody's grown and in relationships and the whole nine. So there's a lot of really tricky conversations that have to happen in that scene. A lot of tricky dynamics especially between Peter and John Ambrose.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
So Lana told E.T. she really wanted this one scene to happen where you guys go and you visit a nursing home and there's some kissing in the snow.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
This is a really sweet scene that happens kind of near the end of the film, where Lara Jean and John Ambrose have thrown this ball. They're working at this retirement facility, and they've thrown this ball for all of the residents. They have this typical like annual garden party that's super tired and fluorescently lit. And they're like, no, we're gonna make this great. Like they did this thing back in the day called the Star Ball, where everybody got dressed up and kind of donned their best dresses and their best suits, and they all got together and they danced, and it was beautiful. And there's punch and champagne and the whole nine. And this is just on the heels of Lara Jean and Peter breaking up for a second, and that again.
So there is a breakup.
Well, I mean, like if you've read the book,
we know there's a breakup.
You would know that there's some challenges, and John Ambrose unfortunately suffers from that. But so this is just on the heels of the breakup, right? Like Lara Jean recognizes that she has feelings for John Ambrose in whatever capacity they are. She has to kind of explore them a little bit. And John Ambrose, for lack of a better term, kind of lives his best life in like a 10-minute span. Dances with Lara Jean for the first time and walks outside and it's snowing in April, which is insane. And like, why this is fate and this is dreaming. It's beautiful. And then one thing leads to another, and they like finally kiss. And you wonder what's going to happen, and then Lara Jean recognizes what that is for her, and that and that her feelings are what they are, but she needs to work things out with Peter, and which is tough. It's challenging, and I think that all of these like very human, these very human nature, very instinctive things that we deal with and that we think about all the time and go through, to be able to kind of see this unfold in front of you in real time is heartbreaking and also really beautiful.
Sure.
And she handles that really well. It's Lana as an actor specifically handles this whole thing very beautifully. I think people are going to be happy.
You said happy, but are we gonna also have tears?
If you love John Ambrose, then yeah, probably.
No.
Yeah, I think so.
No.
I think so.
Well, do you have a message to the fans out there who just love Peter and Lara Jean together?
I love Peter and Lara Jean together. Are you kidding me? I think that, like, this is kind of the way that I like to put it. Everybody needs a string to their kite, right?
Okay.
One person in a relationship when it's good and it's fun and exciting and healthy and balanced. One person is a kite, kind of all over the place and, fun, the life of the party or what have you. And then there's the string. And everybody needs a string to their kite. I personally think that John Ambrose is a string and needs a kite. I think that Lara Jean is a string and needs a kite. Whether or not these two strings might actually come back together in their life and become something more beautiful than what they could work out as teenagers, then it's kind of up to the fans to decide, I think. I think if those two strings come together later in life and become something more beautiful that maybe wouldn't have worked out when they were teenagers, then that is a beautiful thing. It's very much like my story with Ellie. Like, I don't know that our relationship would have worked out if we dated when we were teenagers. When we were kids, like, maybe that would have been a fun thing and a fling or what have you, and then we moved on and keep dating other people, but we ended up together grown and more settled in our lives, and that's what's made it so beautiful and balanced and real. Whether or not Peter and Lara Jean end up together and figure things out, like, that's great and wonderful if they do, but like, I think that for the sake of the story and the excitement of the films, Lara Jean and Peter like need to be together. But I also think, as a fan and as a fan of the books, I think that Lara Jean and John Ambrose like end up together. I personally do.
Oh my God.
I think that Jenny does too. Jenny Han, the author, I think she does.
Really?
I think we might have briefly talked about it at one point in time, but I think that
Throwing stones here.
I think that John Ambrose and Lara Jean like end up together. They get married, they have kids, they have a family, like they do. Like, I think that that's what it is. Like, started off as puppy love, never really explored until like out in the snow for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it is what it is for a second. They both move on. I think they end up together.
I don't hate it.
I don't either.
Thank you so much. I
course.
cannot wait to see this movie and to see what you do with this role. It's going to be amazing.
I think it's really special, you know, and for those of you guys at home, maybe that are fans of the film, fans of the books, we love these characters. We love this story. We love this universe that Jenny Han has created is a really beautiful one, and I think a really honest one, which is why I wanted to be involved in the first place and was so excited to be involved. I think that you guys are going to love it, and excited to hear what you think.